Hello, everybody. Excited to see such a big group here. Okay, well, there we go. Now it's working. Come on, you can screen capture. Hello, Dusty. There we go. Okay, so I did this before, but apparently I have to do it every time I play the game. And then it froze as well, too. Great. An excellent start. But trust me, this game is amazing. Even though it did start off with a good old freeze, I'm actually gonna just try to force quit it and then bring it back in. I don't know why it's doing this. It doesn't seem to like me going back and forth between settings and, you know, the game. So I'm just gonna start it up and then never respond to any problems. So hopefully the sound is good because it's never gonna get changed. Good morning to Pepper Ann 131. Good. Yeah, it's experiencing stage fright. It's a little frustrating that I have to reset the controller. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I wanted to play with the controller because I didn't want to do mouse and keyboard. So I'm already just going to give a mark against my own game. Okay. Move forward, move left, look up, look left, interact. Go back to menu, pause, chat option 1, I guess. Button 5. 3. Okay, there we go. Now we got the controller. Okay, so this is beginner's guide. Sorry, I want to try to respond to everybody. You're gonna need. After that cracker of a game. Yeah, I only saw parts of Contradiction, but it seemed amazing. I'm not playing this in VR. No, I would never do that. I'm an old man and technology confuses and scares me. Like even just doing what I was doing there just completely confused me. So this is beginner's guide. I need to give it a little bit of a preamble here. So hello there, Wick, but not John. You're new to this. Cracker doesn't get auto modded. Yeah, try not to. I don't think I have an auto mod. Maybe I do. I don't know. There's somebody I have that mods my channel sometimes that's going to be surprised to see I have like 40, 50 people on my. It's just going to lose it when he gets here, but yeah, bugger off is fine. 7 blesses upon you. Hate the word Jap. Yeah, well, for good reason. But, you know. So, can finally have breakfast. Looking forward to watch this. Okay, so this game, there's a little bit of a preamble. One, it's very loosely the word game. It's a very... The bare minimum of what something needs to have to be considered a game. But, you know. Hello, Dr. Nigel. Dr. Nigel. Secondly, it helps if you've played Stanley Parable before. To get you kind of in the mindset of the man who made Stanley Parable is the same guy who wrote and narrates this game. It's actually very... He'll explain it very early on, but very basically what we're doing is we're listening to a narration of, I believe his name is Davey, as he... No, it's fine. This game, in my books, it's already won. So I actually played it again recently, and it's totally worth the rose-tinted goggles. I don't have it in me to mock either of my competitors. Both of them have a wonderful taste in games. Contradiction seems amazing. I want to play it myself. I'm going to see if I can do a stream of it. And Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is also an amazing game.
Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide.
I'll let him talk.
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to look at the...
Let's see if I can do that without clicking out of the... No, I can't. Okay. We'll try that, and hopefully it doesn't mess the game up. Okay, I'll just get rid of this. Put that over there. Okay, this might be really loud.
Games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff.
Outstanding.
And his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first...
I don't know if I have closed captioning. Oh, I do. Okay, so yeah, we can do that. And
game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt him.
And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
So this is the game.
As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
So a few things here. Hopefully you caught all that. One thing is I've also calibrated my gamepad incorrectly. And so now it's really difficult for me to move properly. So I'm going to try this again and see. I just have to do it by instinct. Look up, look left, interact, go back to menu, pause, chat option 1, 2, 3. Continue. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, this works. Oh, now we're doing something. Okay, so Whisper Machine status activate.
This game is called Escape from Whisper.
Okay.
And it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Oh, let's go this way. Oh. That's right, I can shoot. It's not very loud, though. So, every time you're going through this game... Yeah. So, here's a good question I want you guys all to think about while I'm playing this. First of all, let me get some coffee. I suppose I can pause if I need to talk, but... I want you to ask yourself, is Coda a real person? Is this story that Davey is telling us, is this a fictional story or is this a real story? Okay, so I'm gonna shoot in here. Do some more shooting.
Security hull breached.
Oh no.
Hostile alien life forms inbound.
Ooh, better keep my ammo.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
I ran out of bullets.
But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shooting.
Interesting question. Does it matter? Okay, so where am I supposed to be going? Oh, this way. So unfortunately, I don't have any bullets. But here's something
love how
funny.
you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
It's pretty cool, actually. Open this door. Okay. Now we're gonna come through here.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past
No,
it.
I want to do it. Oh, damn it. Okay, well, that's fine.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Baron's getting it.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering a whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
I don't want to die, so I think I'd rather the whole ship go under. See, big heat signature right here. Do it, coward. No, I want to see how. I want to
This
see
is
that.
not a branching point, unfortunately. The only option is to step into the beam.
Oh, okay. Well,
Let me pause here for a second.
okay.
What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
And sort of weirdly, unintentionally, kind of beautiful and soothing.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
See, this game has a very weird, sort of soothing effect for me. Everything, what I think I like about it.
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
That's right. This game. Everything's so clean and cut. There's not a bunch of shit on the dashboard. I'm not getting constantly bombarded with like, hey, would you like to buy these extra dollars so your character has a million other experience points?
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
Damn it.
It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually
future
it
could
seems
not
to
be
be
seen.
more focused, more complete.
Why does the future keep
Code
changing?
is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Okay, let's go this way. I need to walk backwards though. Why does the future keep changing? Okay, let's come up this way. And like, there's no skill tree, and I don't have to like learn a billion gadgets, and I don't have to do any of that shit. Oh, when she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it? Oh, wow. Tense.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that.
Boom.
Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
See, this is an interesting concept he has. There's this idea of all these games are very short and quick, and they only need to do what they say. They're not being built over top of some amazing engine with all this crap. They're always very simple and straight to the point, and usually he explains the point to us, which I'll admit isn't great, but it's part of the greater story. You are now entering, okay. But we're gonna come back to that. This theme of games being short, concise, and to the point. An interesting side thought is I find TV is better in that way. Like, it's kind of nice that Breaking Bad kind of just had 5 seasons and ended.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's sourced.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do? I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
So here's a question. We talked earlier about whether or not Coda is real. So if Coda isn't real, and it doesn't matter, then why is he telling us about his relationship with this guy? If he's just some fictional person, why would we care about his relationship with Coda? And as these games go on, he's gonna delve more into how he feels about Coda, or how he feels about himself with Coda. And the question is if this guy is a real person, who he is. Stanley Parable is a real game. I gotta look around. I'm sorry. It's just how I am as a gamer. Why is he telling us? Why did he choose to tell this story as opposed to any other story? Because he's a schizo? Oh no.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Maybe I'll just go slow. Take it nice and slow. I'm in no rush. See, I think this game, its charm is in that it's trying something a little bit out from what we're used to. And seeing as this guy started off with Stanley Parable, if you haven't seen Stanley Parable, wow, amazing. Amazing game. Yeah, so absolutely amazing game. And I think what makes Stanley Parable just so incredible is that it challenges what we are used to in video games. It's something completely different. It's not in any genre that's ever existed. It's not a remake of another game. It's not built on some idea that some other guy had made like 5 years ago and now everybody wants to see. It doesn't have skill trees and like 20 levels and fucking like specialization weapons and all that stupid bullshit. It's like a straight to the point, really entertaining and exciting game. So I was willing to give this guy a chance with Beginner's Guide. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just move up the stairs. I tried, but it's too slow. Oh, there's a nice little room. Standing on X, staring at a bear for 3 hours. Okay. You walk around talking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
A normal game where you have to scream into a mic every 15 seconds to keep playing. That doesn't sound like a very good game. This one sounds amazing. You walk around talking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams.
People thought of him as cold
amazing.
Or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. it can be a very slow climb to get there.
Okay, so fans of gaming a little while ago said that Coda is probably his past self. So Coda's his past self. Why is he telling us that? Oh no! I didn't want to go to the next one to redo all of them. Damn it! I should have said pause. Why is he telling us that Coda is a cold and? Is he telling us that he is a cold and distant person? I mean, he's sitting here talking to us. Obviously, he's not very cold and distant, or maybe he was cold and distant. Now he is. I don't know. The story between him and Coda, I find, is so intriguing and so wonderful because when you think about it, a lot of video games, most of their stories, they are a slave to the system. They have to they're basically built to lend some sort of understanding or context to the random bullshit your players do. And they have to be built in a way that whether or not your guy is good or evil, the story still sort of makes sense. Whereas this, it does constrict you a lot more, but it tells you a story that you would not get in another video game. And it still really hasn't come to full fruition, but you'll see as I'm kind of ruining it by talking about it so much, but...
Well, this is new for Coda. It's
an
an
actual
puzzle.
Yeah, sort of a
Go
puzzle.
ahead and see if you can solve it.
So I know the solution to this puzzle, but... So, there's this. I open the door. Okay, so I want to get through this door here. How do I get through this door? I like the music in here too. And this is the first puzzle in this game. Yeah, it did have that. I guess you're right there, fans of gaming. That it's true. There are walking simulators, and it is kind of a walking simulator. So I suppose it's unfair of me. Console load next level. Okay, I'll just show you.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Did you get
We're
it?
going to see it a lot.
It's clever, isn't it? Nope. Well, it's I don't know how clever it is, but there's 3 dots here. I wonder what those 3 dots are about. But I think what you're missing there, fans of gaming, with Stanley Parable isn't just the walking simulator, it's the interaction between you and the narrator. Like, you can decide, do you want to follow what the narrator wants to do, or you want to do your own thing. And the best part of the game is that if you follow him too much, he kind of gets like really condescending and like talks down to you, how you just do what everybody else tells you to do. And if you was it obvious? Was it obvious, Wick?
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end.
And now this
Simple
room.
enough.
Damn
All right,
it.
now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room. How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea.
How deep?
So,
See,
in Stairs game,
what he's saying is
a
this
dull
game-
exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in
There it
this
is.
level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
It's a good question. Okay, so now we're back here. I really like this setting, actually, but it is spooky. I want to move to the next area. You are now exiting. Okay, well...
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow.
Or maybe
It
he
could
just
even
thought this
be
was a
that
goof.
the stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the enter.
Coda made thunder.
There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
See, at this point, Davey is trying to tell us that his game's like connected in some way, and from here he's going to try to sort of explain it. And sometimes I feel like he kind of gets in the way of what these games.
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
I'll let him talk.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
The streetwise fool.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Ooh, now where are we? What are we doing? See, I'm kind of afraid of heights, and even though I know there's no real heights here, it's just a simulation. It gets me every time. It gets me every single time. That actual falling, I feel like I'm falling. What engine can't do linear boxy corridors? That's a good question. See, now this place starts getting creepy and the music changes to this, like... Well, it changed earlier, but it's just weird and foreboding. I guess this is a prison? Now he's going to talk a little while about how, you know, prisons are meaningful, and... I'm not going to try. He actually does it. He does a good job of it. I don't want to make fun of the guy.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
What a brutal game that would be. Could you imagine playing that and just
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot.
Being frustrated?
You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible?
Okay, so this is another good point. If we're talking about, yeah, but the wasting time part is part of the experience. So if we're talking about whether or not Coda is real, then why does he make these arguments? So I'll let you know a little secret. Now that we're friends, we've been here for a little bit. We've gotten to know each other. Coda isn't a real character. It's a fictional character. There's a couple reasons you can know immediately. One is that you wouldn't be able to release a game with someone else's content without their permission. And second is that the guy who made it has literally said it's a fictional story. But it's important, I think, to ask why he's decided to make a fictional story where he is real and why he decides to tell it in the ways that he does. So he's sitting here and he's arguing with himself about whether or not a game should be playable or not. And then he gives himself the, let's say, the more favorable side of that argument. I mean, can any of us really sit here and say we would like a game to be unplayable? well, what's the point of playing a game that isn't playable? So he takes the safe option. I believe that a game should be playable. And then he uses coda to represent someone else. A different argument. The argument that no, a game doesn't need to be playable. The game does not owe anything to its players. It just is what it is. It's going to be made the way it is. It's going to be made by the developer, and if the people who like it, and the people who don't like it. So why would he give this, I guess, a more unpopular opinion to a fictional character and not just take it on himself?
Heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Down the stairs. Thank you. Okay, so now we're outside. Oh.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
Okay. Done. Nailed it.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
So, as the game gets closer to the end, we'll probably have a little while until he starts doing it, but he's going to start sharing his own interpretations of these games, and it's pretty interesting. Some of the games are actually going to get kind of cool here, but I like this one here.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capability.
I might be able to... Sound quality high. Why would anybody... I can't do separate... Yeah, I think it's just this one area is pretty bad. I'm going to turn down the master volume a little bit, at least. It's going to turn down his volume as well, but...
Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
You there? Did you come from above? What was up there? Yes, there were floating colored blocks. That's the world above? You've been there? No, this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. I was literally the last thing I did before coming here. 2, no, I don't remember having to go through any puzzle. 3, I prefer not to tell you. After all, we only just met. After all, we only just met. It's just meant to be unpleasant. Yeah, just to let you know, this game was made on a dime. As you probably already figured that part out, but it was also sold at cost. Like, the guy just wanted to release it as it was. Not look for a profit. So you can tell there's a few parts of the game that are whatever. Anyways. What? But you don't understand. We're trapped here. That puzzle is our only escape. We need to get through it. Let me describe it to you. Let me tell you all about what is over there. You think you want to get through, but trust me, you don't. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We need to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. And I think I just leave. That was the weird conversation with these people, and then I go into here, and there's more weird people to talk to. Hey, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes, do you want to know how to solve it? No, I've been right here this entire time. I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometimes. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. What happens if I solve it? Then I'm a god. Not sure, but if I have any suspicion, what you find won't be worth what it takes to get there. Oh, damn it. I want to see what the last one is there. Interesting. What is there won't be worth the work it took to get there. Interesting. Interesting choice of words.
So we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
I want to get to the next spot as quickly as possible.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna...
So, is it a destination? I didn't see this as a destination when I first saw it. I saw it as like... I don't know. I guess it's kind of right. It is kind of a destination, but it felt more like a stepping stone to a different area. Like, this is just sort of like a resting spot between... There's something so soothing about this spot. For me, like, I used to live in an area like this.
Become a lot more cohesive.
You know, like...
a lot more fully developed.
Like, they're called projects where I was living, but, like, they're not quite slums, but they're just like, you know, like low-income housing, where houses are all packed together and everything like that. And just the idea of walking into this area, and I feel like anybody who sees this sort of immediately sees it as like a home, so like a safe spot. I don't know, it makes me think of the part in Left 4 Dead where, you know, you get to a safe room and you can just like take a breath, get some ammo, and then wait until you're ready to go to the next spot. I mean, I guess destination, but yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say this project's soothing, but my point is that it made me feel like home, like a sense of safety, a sense of something like that. I don't know. It felt like it's not a very complicated area.
And as we go,
but in context with everything else that this Coda guy has made, it just feels, I don't know,
get clearer,
artistic in a way.
And clearer.
Like a nice shot. It's just, I like the lone light in the middle of this area. All you can hear is crickets. It's nice. This one is a bit of a weird one. Nice room. Not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
There's a lot of them here. Whoa, holy shit. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Reasonable.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness.
I never got loneliness. I got something completely different, but I'll let him talk and I'll explain what I got.
I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
Okay, so I want
But
to check
it's
some of these
ironic,
out.
isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Okay, so here's a question. Please, less messy social interaction. Here's a question. Do you feel you can learn something about somebody from their video game or from their work of art or from their movie? Is there something, when you see a movie, do you feel like you personally get something about the person who makes that movie, or maybe the actor who plays a certain character? Because to me, I guess I somehow understand him in a different way. But here's what I saw when I saw this area. I felt like what this was notes on an essay. Like when you write an essay and then you go to edit it and then you just fill it with these little notes that just randomly tell you, oh, okay, this needs work. You know, the guy over there wrote, well, some of this is like critical of the game. Some of it's just random ideas. But it just feels like when I got this, it was like lots of annoying little criticisms of himself or things that he saw other people would see about him. I don't know if I can go anywhere else. Oh, I think I can go over there. Okay. And I guess sort of in a way he's right. There's a sense of loneliness, I guess. I mean, you are alone, literally alone in this room. But what I felt more of was like maybe he's driving himself crazy. Like he kind of just goes off in like all of these different random areas, and there's just an endless amount of these thoughts, which probably are very overwhelming for him. And this game is no nice. I would like when I could. I believe in the death of the author. How the work has been done. More often than not, no. Interesting. Games are an art form. Yeah, games are an art form. I do think this game is a work of art. I just don't think it's not necessarily a good game. I wouldn't invite my buddies over and be like, hey guys, you want to play some beginner's guide? Like, I'll play first and then you get another chapter. Like, it's just not, it's a game you have to experience with the right set of mind. I like doing it first thing in the mornings. That's why I signed up in this time frame. Also, I had very little options, but I can assure you, guarantee that there is an Acor somewhere here in this place, and the sailors are looking for it. Interesting. Because sometimes when I think about just anything that I create, I have a bunch of random thoughts, and it does feel as if I just have so many thoughts I can't really put them all into... I can't write them down, and I can't really understand them all. So there's a good sense of, I don't know, interesting. I like that painting. I don't know, I can feel a sense of connection to this character in this story. I mean, even though it's really abstract and kind of strange, I suppose all of us can in some way understand having too much on our mind. Being overcritical of the things that we think and the things that we create. Wow, though. Again, even though I'm in the middle of a video game, there's this feeling of this big room, this huge painting. It's pretty spectacular. Cabbage shapes our nation. I suppose it does. From up here, it just looks like dots. I suppose it does. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I certainly learned that Tarantino... but like, okay, so... That's actually a good point there, Baron. So talking about whether we can like understand an artist or something through their work, consider how many movies Tarantino has created in which there's like this epic use of violence. But then also ask yourself...
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
So as I was saying about Tarantino,
in each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does this puzzle have a solution? Oh my god, I've been here literally for an hour. What the fuck do I do? Help! Help! The second door won't open. Shit, how do I solve it? Developer, answers please.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here.
I guess this is kind of what I said earlier.
And connect the pieces together to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Sorry, what I was saying about Tarantino. So, if you watch all the Tarantino movies, I used to really like Inglourious Bastards. I still do. It's still a really good movie. There's still a lot of good points in it. But a friend of mine made a really good observation one time that the movie within the movie of Inglourious Bastards, the Nation's Pride or whatever, the one where the German sniper kills like 1 million American soldiers, and he's just like amazing and wonderful, and the American soldiers are like, oh my god, I'm so overwhelmed by this one guy. His observation was that like the story could have easily just been another Inglourious Bastards. So it felt weird that Tarantino was criticizing, the Nazi propaganda for creating this movie where it's obviously glorifying their use of violence for their own goals, when the movie itself we're watching, Inglourious Bastards, is the use of violence, glorifying the use of violence for our own means. And I just felt like you have to kind of, to really like understand his movies, you have to kind of like maybe tell yourself that there's something going on with Tarantino himself, because every one of his movies is like always this insane use of violence, where also accompanied by someone talking about why that violence is good or could be used or whatever. He's always justifying his use of violence while also making it, I don't know, like, Glorious Bastards is a revenge flick against the Nazis. Django Unchained is a revenge flick against slavers. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a revenge flick against Charlie Manson and the Manson murders. And they're all like, well, this violence is good, but also the violence they use is bad. So it's like, this guy has a really weird feeling of a weird relationship with violence. He obviously loves it, but he hates other people love it. And I don't know. So what point I'm trying to make is that there is a way that we can kind of understand, or at least sort of glean a part of Tarantino's personality from just watching his movies. And that's all conjecture. It's just me. Maybe I'm projecting my own feelings. Maybe it's just completely made up. Who knows? How do you leave notes? That's a good question. Lamppost. Okay. Are you there? Please say something. Give me anything. I need you to say something. Tell me, please. What are you talking about? Speak. That's an intense.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just
Yeah.
spin its own wheels for a few minutes.
Woody
and-
Allen's a very divisive figure. I love Lamp. Sorry, I forget what he said. Oh, this is a nice little place. I mean, there's no bed here. I guess the bed can be in here. Oh. I just... I want to take a second, actually. I have a larger point I need to make later, and it's going to help if I can take a second to... This, when I first played this game, this scene here really messed with me. I sat here for a while really thinking about this. It's just something about... It's so clearly beautiful, looking at the sky in the background, and there's the sense of that I want to go over to this well and just sit on the well on the edge and just sort of like look off into the sky, but I can't because there are these bars here, and it bothers me. Even though I know it's not real, I want to go closer to it. Even though I can see it from where I am, these bars, oh fuck, they're right in my way. I'll come back to that later. Yeah, Coda could be a moth. That's a good point, actually. Meow! Yeah, hello. You want to say hello to people? You want to get out? I guess Coda. I guess Willow doesn't like beginner's guide. Okay. Are you gonna? No, don't bite me. That's not nice. Okay, make up your mind. Okay, where are we now? Damn it.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else.
Damn it, now I'm stuck.
Cool. Here's version 2.
Go away. Go away. You're just being a jerk. No, that's not nice. What furniture ought to be in the center of the room? Oh yeah, I remember this part. How about a TV with surround sound, a refrigerator, a giant hole in the ground? Okay, that's not a giant hole in the ground. What about along the wall of the room? 10 stoves lined up along the wall. That's not very nice. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. That's not a live Tesla coil. And a table. You need a table. Who are you? Where exactly are you doing this from? I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. Tables were invented in 1935. I don't know if tables were invented in 1935. I don't think that's true. I think there might have been tables before then in 1935. Who are you? He's not answering my questions.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Is it?
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different
I wanted to go around and look at
direction.
stuff. Hello, please walk forward. You know what? I'm not going to do that. Oh, I literally can only walk forward. No, I can move backwards. Okay. Okay, I'll just walk forward. Hello, please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Okay. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. No. Well, look. 3 dots again. Okay, fine. I'll click on the table. Good. Go over the photo frame and click and turn it slightly. Okay. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off and then turn it back on. Now go to the left side sofa, move it over a little. Finally touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to that start to be taken back to your prison. The escape is now open. Where is it? Oh, it's... no. Did I trap myself? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Restart this level. Oh, please don't tell me it goes back there. Porn stars die too.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Okay, let's try this again. Just follow the steps to escape. Okay, come on. Yeah, I found a way to lose the game, yeah. I went into the corner.
This is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway.
Yeah.
For some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Okay. What ought to go in the center of the room? How about a surround TV? Yep, you don't care. No, you're gonna just do whatever. How about 10 stoves? Nope. A skylight. What else? Table? You need a table. Tables were invented in 1935. And there we go. I want to see more of this.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Weird for weirdness' sake.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Okay, so now we're back to this. Okay, please walk forward. I got this. I can totally follow directions. It's not a problem. I don't have to get stuck again. Okay, click the table. What do I have to do? Photo frame. Okay, photo frame. Floor lamp. Turn it off and on again. Go to the side left couch, move it a little bit, then touch the shelves. In a prison, the escape is now open. Oh, okay, over here. Okay, interesting. Now we're moving on.
And of course,
it feels so weird the narrator would say this level isn't communicating anything.
Chain of events to escape.
It tells you how to escape a prison. Yeah, it is a bit ironic, I suppose.
Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Okay, so now he's starting to see some turmoil in this relationship with Coda. And he keeps talking about how he can see in Coda this sense of sadness, loneliness. He sees him unraveling in these games. As he said. He says it's painful to watch his friend play this game. But I like this. I don't know. I mean, it's quiet. There's the lamp again. Our old friend, the lamp. Yeah, maybe. So, fan of gaming, what do you think the levels, these levels of prisons are communicating? If you think it's absurd that they're not communicating anything, then they must be communicating something. What's he trying to communicate with any of these? What does any of this mean? I still like this lamp. There's some aesthetic of the lone light among everything else. This is a returning pattern. It really does make me feel like this lamp is safe. Keeps me safe. It's very surrealist. Yeah. It's strange. It's weird. Okay, so I have to answer the phone. That's a good point. Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You're me? So you're trapped in the prison here, in this prison too? Yeah, I was in a furniture maze.
And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
It's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in the prison. Why? Was there anything about it that you felt good about? Being here sucks. True, maybe I only like things once I don't have them anymore. It was comfortable, I knew its limits, I knew my place. But don't you feel excited about getting out? The promise of freedom? The only thing keeping me going. Excited doesn't seem to really do it justice. Exactly. You have something to care about, something to look forward to. You won't always have something to care about as much as this. Just be with the enthusiasm for a bit. Let it ooze in your flesh. Ugh, that was a weird one. Sorry, I wanna read this. To answer the phone. yeah. That was a good one, Wick. Who's a peer Dakota? I don't know if peer. See, it's weird because he makes a point of saying that they became friends, they got to know each other, but that the conversation was shaky and awkward, right? So like we know that Dakota's not real, but Davey has made the expressed point to tell us that when he first met Coda, he came on too strong. So when I realized that the story was fictional, I fixated on that for a while. Why would he write that he came on too strong to a character that he is creating? And if Coda represents something, then what does it represent that he's coming on too strong to that? So, just another thing I keep thinking about. That's how I escaped. What did they tell you? What do you have to do to get out? To be sincere. They asked me to feel I felt about being in prison. Okay, so this is a really good point, actually. I totally forgot about. So, like, he's having a conversation. He's having a conversation with his past self, and his past self is stuck in a prison. Now, Davey has explicitly said that the prison represents some sort of abstract social prison that he feels he can't connect with other people. Oh, you can't read the text? Oh, so I'm sorry to say that. Oh, I can move the chat. How about I move it up here and just make it a bit smaller? Yeah, so he's talking about like, oh no, it restarted the game. It doesn't like when I click out of the game. It's an older game, so now I gotta do this all
This
again.
one is tough. It's gonna kind
Yeah,
of
it's
just
not tough.
spin its own wheels for a few minutes.
But it's
Hang
fine.
with it.
I'll get through it. Let's move through. It's actually a good scenic route, I guess, but this game is not without its problems. Oh, thanks for the follow there, Shrimpy. Let's move on in here. Now we're back in the prison. He's going to talk about the prison for a second.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Yes. Let's do this again. What ought to be in the center of the room? Let me guess. A table. How about a bunch of pretentious couches? Yeah, and boom. Can I get maybe a pretentious lamp? Oh, yes. Lamps. So condescending. Okay, there we go. Done, done, done. Yes, this is my favorite part, actually. I'm kind of happy to have do this again.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything.
It's just so fun.
It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
What I think would be cool is if you could actually push down some of this furniture as you're going through it.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Oh, we're all the way back here, too, to do this. Dang it. Okay, well, we'll get through this. I'm not going to click out anymore. So if you guys don't like the anything, it's just how it is. Frame, lamp. There we go, and let's return. Okay, and now he's going to show us
And
the other
of course,
prisons.
now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
Okay, I'm going to let it just move through these
Here's a
motions
version
as I
where
go
there
to
are
grab a
no
little bit of
bars, but
coffee.
You can't actually get to the well. And then a version where
You're
the
right,
inside of the
right
prison is
back.
the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And
Okay,
he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Okay. And now we're back to the lamp. The lamp keeps us safe. The lamp tells us what we need. See, this relationship between him and Coda is important. But what I think sometimes it takes a while for me to understand is, like, I guess why we're the prison, the real prison, was the friends we made along the way. It's me who escaped from the prison. Sorry, back to this. We're back to the self-isolation concept. So, he's asking himself advice how to get out of this. And he has
it's a
these...
conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
They're really Davey talking to himself. But so he comes in and he gives you a certain amount of decisions. He gives you a certain amount of answers to these questions that it's asking. Now, it starts off being like pretty specific to the story, so they really don't have any meaning. What it's like to escape. But this one actually is a little bit deeper, I think. So what's it like to escape? Actually, I'm already forgetting what being in a prison was like. It's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in a prison. And 3, I feels like being completely still and wildly in motion at the same point in time. I think what he's explaining here is what it feels like to sort of be anxious within a sense of social isolation. So I'm going to go with it's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in a prison. Because, like, you know, I'll move on here before I get into my own personal experiences here. But why? Was there anything about it that felt good about? Being here sucks. It was comfortable. I knew its limits. I knew my place. Is that good, though? It's comfortable, but it's inhumane. I couldn't live this way. You don't need to. You just need to be patient. Having limits is way more important than you probably realize right now. You'll see what I'm talking about when you've been there a while longer. See, at this point, I feel like these answers take on a new meaning. And they started to feel to me like stuff that old people tell young people. And you're kind of now, so he's talking about this past self. This past self has a problem. He's stuck in a prison and he can't get out. And now this past self is asking him questions, asking him for advice. And the only thing he has to say are the same things that he's likely heard from other people. So if you think about it, if we're thinking about this isolation being some sort of, you know, mental health problem, or maybe socialization or whatever, his answers here are, you don't need to be, just be patient. Pretty common answer that people get. You know, like, don't worry about it. Just work it out. It's gonna be fine. Then there's the having limits is way more important than you probably realize right now. You know, you probably realize right now. Feels like a very condescending old person answer. 3, you'll see what I'm talking about when you've been here a while longer. Again, kind of a condescending old person answer. So let's keep going. Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No, I think I'm the first person to call back. Yes, I did get a call. That's how I escaped. I'm gonna go with 2. What did they tell you? What do you have to do to get out? All they told me was to be sincere. They asked me about how I feel about being in prison. They just talked to me for a while. What? That freed you? How does that work? Listen, you can't know until you're out, but promise it works. Just be sincere. It will make sense. See, I feel like these answers aren't very helpful. And I think that's the point. I think he chose prison in this context because he wanted it to be a quite literal thing that this past self is dealing with, that this future self just keeps giving him unhelpful advice. He keeps saying, like, you'll figure it out when you're out, but I promise it works. Just trust
I
me.
can see why he
Just be
considers this a
patient.
fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
See, I found it very patronizing. He saw it as nice.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Oh, this one! This one's my favorite. I think I already said that before, but this one's my favorite. Give me a second to drink some coffee. Okay, let's go. I know we've had some ups and downs.
This environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the 2 doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
He says this is dark. I know it's like spooky, but I guess I'm from Canada, so this is like what Canada looks like all year round, no matter what. But I found it very comforting. You'll see why. I'm glad as all heck you showed up. Thought I might be having to clean this entire house all by myself, and right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy
The quality
homes.
of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Why don't we start cleaning and then you decide whether you could do it all night. I'll finish up here. In the meantime, you can clear the table. Okay. Much nicer. That's the table I want to see. Now, could you please run to the bedroom and make the bed? Okay, that's kind of a weird thing to ask somebody who just got here, but... kind of make your own bed there, sir. It's the bathroom. While you're in there, why don't you straighten the rug a bit? That's not very straight. Do you enjoy being a house cleaner? Well, I don't enjoy it so much as I need it. While I'm working, I feel a kind of calm that rests in the pit of my rib cage. My soul just can't be soothed any other way, it seems. Which I guess is about all that matters. And that and a tiny couch. Where you straighten the pillows on the sofa out there? Spilled a drink over the couch. Over by the couch. Maybe a mop? I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy. No. Okay, well, it was stupid. Sorry, never mind. I want to hear it. Damn it, I ruined it. Why don't you come do that? I also check the tub need cleaning. Okay, I go on that. Ooh, it's a clean tub. We're all just human. Are there still books scattered on the floor in the bedroom? I think so. I'll go check them out. Perfect. Thank you. How about you come and clear the dishes off the table?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
House cleaning is so difficult. How do you do it? Darling, let me tell you something. Your house is only as difficult to clean as you are. If you're finding that the work hard, maybe you have a bit of house cleaning keeping you to do before you come to work? Ha. Here I get a lecture. Of course I would. Don't you worry about all that nonsense. Now just smooth out the rug in the bedroom.
Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Earlier when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was going to say it, but it occurs to me that one's house is all like one's soul. You can take care of it, and it takes care of you. Hey, don't know why I felt so weird about saying it. There's a bit of truth in it, no? I get it. That's a weird thing to say to someone you just met. Oh, holy jeez. Hey, Blobber, thanks for the raid. Communication just fails over and over again. Is this about intergenerational communication that just fails over and over again? Maybe. That's a good point, actually. I never saw it that way there. HCC Cyclone. Whether you trust the other person. Haven't seen a cat. Can't be true, Baron. Yeah. Hey, Blobber, thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. You kind of missed the beginning of Beginner's Guide, but I feel like you would like it. It's basically like EU4. It's a weird thing to say to someone you just met. Oh, that actually sounds mean. I didn't mean to be mean. So, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. How much time do I have left? Okay, I have some. I'm gonna clean up the books. There's something so satisfying about this game.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
And he's just gonna keep telling me to go clean things. Question.
But
do you enjoy
of
this?
Course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone.
Damn it.
It's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
I want to clean the house. It's time to go. Basically like EU4. It's like the exact same game. If you think like EU4 as like a bunch of rooms you go through one at a time, and to hear this guy constantly overthink his own story, that's this game. So basically EU4, you know, it's the same thing. Is this dark space a metaphor for Canada? Yeah, Canada actually, we never see sun here. We did briefly in the 70s, but it hasn't happened since. That's part of the reason Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling went to America, because they're the hot Ryans. They need their sun to get a little bit of tan, so they couldn't just sit around in Canada all the time. Lamp. It's been a gas lamp. It's been a lot of work.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
I love you, Lamp.
I really thought that was the point of it.
Was it the point of that? You don't see any reason to sweeten this? Yeah. Fair enough. No, you're overthinking it. Dark space is where the Reapers are. Of course you can't stay here. It's probably Sweden. It feels like a game about obsessive thoughts, loneliness, and anxiety. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Oh, sorry. Oh, shit. I'm ruining it. You came here to be perfect. The workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, how do you think about the way in your life? How do you think about the way in your own life? Okay. How do you know who is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful. I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is it within your grasp. And the question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? This is easy. This is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Okay, so a little bit of background here. I used to teach, not a lot, but I taught a little bit, and I felt like this. When I recently replayed it, this actual scene had a much more profound effect on me. When I was younger and I played this game, I hadn't taught at that point, and it wasn't really all that impressive to me. And I sort of understood, okay, you know, what he's about to go on is talk about how someone feels like they're a bit of an imposter when they're teaching and telling people. So we see it from the perspective of the listener, the audience, and he's promising all this great stuff that he knows everything, everything's so easy, so confident, and you come back in this point of view and you realize that he's actually very unsure of himself, full of doubt, and it's actually kind of terrifying to look up into here. And I felt like that was pretty realistic. This is the key. How do I achieve with no effort?
As the teacher, and suddenly you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Oh, neat. On the way I work, I told an elder person to start contributing to society. Wow. Well, let me tell you right now. If it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. I still love you. It's just that you make me feel cold on the inside. Oh, wow. Okay, so thank goodness all of you perceive me as being intelligent and wise. Drinking is not hurting my life. If you are torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions to your life, you're not doing it right. See, he keeps lighting up these answers, so I'm going to choose that one, because it seems to be the one he wants me to do. Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Wow, okay, intense. Seek out only one thing. What is easiest, simple path forward? Ugh. I'm developing a cyst. Gross. Okay. Sorry, I missed... okay, so 2009. Bumping himself. This is the previous game decided. I don't think that's what's going to happen with Coda. I mean, I also know how it's going to... This guy gets it. Oh god, Sauron has come to end it all. Ain't that a nice thing to hear? Higher education is about... Okay. Seek out only one thing. What is the easiest and simplest path forward? Haha, just kidding. Anyone want to do this ecstasy? Do some ecstasy after this? That's what I'm going with. I didn't actually read the last one. What if I'm not a good teacher? Do what is easiest. Do what is simplest. Feel what is true. Holy shit, you guys. Something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out. See, what I was kind of feeling is the center one isn't necessarily the correct answer advice-wise. But there's what you want to say within the parameters of whatever you're teaching, and then there's these thoughts that hug everything you say. So that what if I'm not a good teacher is like something that's with you the entire time you teach. The entire time that you're doing, no matter how confident you get, no matter how many times you've taught the simplest things, no matter how much you know about the topic you're teaching, there's always this, what if I'm not a good teacher in the background? It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone run. Nothing, no one.
I fell pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way,
Lamp,
and
get me out of this.
All of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Want to pour some paint?
This game a lot these days.
Yeah, I'm pleased that you like it, Shrimpy. It's really good. I think he wants you to pick perfection. Ooh.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little
and it's the same,
strange at the time.
Same stuff as before. I guess this is a green room. Let's go to the stage. Man, where's the crew? This is a big one. I want to look around a little bit, see if there's anything in here. Get all the secret collectibles. Can't have a game without collectibles, everybody. Imagine if you didn't have some reason to arbitrarily walk around and look in every corner of the game. What would you even do? What would we do with our lives? What would we do with all that extra time? Okay, there was nothing in here. Ooh. Gets me every time. Places, please. In this scene, you will be playing as me. First, start off by leaning against the wall. Okay. Good, stay there. The woman across the room, in this chair, is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. Go on, say something to her. Sorry, where's the bathroom? What are you doing? You're deflecting. You're not saying what's actually on your mind. Stop dancing around it and have a conversation with this person. Do it again. Now, I want to bring us back to something, so for people, especially with people who jumped in. So we are in this area. We're talking to this person. She's an expert on photographing animals, and you want to learn about how to photograph animals. But if we recall, in the beginning of the series, or the beginning of the game, we had a part in which Davey met Coda, and he was talking about how Coda is this amazing game maker, and he sees games in a way that no one else sees them, and he needs to get to know him and meet him, and he has this awkward experience with him. And again, he makes the choice to tell us that even though this is a fictional character, that he came on too strong and made him uncomfortable. And now we're actually in this position where he's talking to an animal photographer, and he wants to learn about animal photography, and he wants to learn from this person, but all he has are bad options. I'm super scared right now, honest. I like you, pretty honest. I'm here. Here are all of my hopes and dreams. And no matter what he says, no, that's not what I say to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. It was confident. I was confident. For the same reason I had one moment, but I was confident. There's a lot of people around us. I could give you some props to work with. Neat. I wonder if I can create I love this. Okay. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. I bet you learned to lean into the pain. Wow. What are some sacrifices you've had to make? You're messing it up again. You'll freak her out with the conversation. It gets too personally too quickly. Do you realize how important it was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this. Everything was riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Oh, Lamp. You're back. Lamp, it's been a gas. I fucked up someone's opportunity for their hopes and dreams. You know how it is. You're a Lamp. You get that shit all the time. Okay, I'll see you later, Lamp. Okay, yes. Now this is working.
Ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating.
Okay, so here's something that Davey keeps doing. Every time he sees bars, he assumes it's a prison that's keeping him in. But, like, what do bars... Oh, hey, thanks for the follow, everybody. Solaire, 1988, and Gumaneath. I don't have one of those things that pop up and says that you do it. It's only because I'm an old man. I don't like pop-ups. They scare and confuse me. So I appreciate it. Every time that Davey sees bars, he immediately makes a negative connotation. He immediately sees it as a bad thing, and he sees Coda as hiding behind them. But do bars necessarily always mean that? Can bars mean anything positive? we all sort
He
of
just keeps
suffer from
backing
stage
away from
fright, right?
possible connections to anyone.
Sorry, I don't want to talk over him. That's why I paused. We all sort of suffer from stage fright, and part of the fear is literally standing up on the stage in front of all the people, especially with lights in your face. It can be a lot. And these cages, as we move back and forth, are separating us from that fear, quite literally. Continue.
Other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
5 months. But so the tone of this drop hitting down. Okay, sorry. I want to talk a little bit about the last game. So obviously having these things clamped down on the ground, making this big loud noise. It's also, there's this sort of sense of comfort as it's separating us from something that I will almost universally fear. And there's sort of a sense of comfort. And he talks about how, like, you know, Coda's doing this because it's giving him this sense of comfort, but it's also very unhealthy. You know, he shouldn't be separating himself from other people. He shouldn't be doing this. He shouldn't be breaking himself off from people. He shouldn't be hiding. Oh, sorry, what's happening? Yes, the stream's not dying. Did it? So, you guys not hear me? Can you not see this? It's weird. So, you guys do hear me. Like, I don't understand. The stream didn't stop for me. It's still counting down. I didn't lose any connection. I think you guys might have... Oh, something's happening. The door. Oh, shit. Okay. What's going on? Help, I'm blind.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Oh, I didn't read the theme. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't say I'm dropping any frames. Oh, okay, sorry. This thing is... please tell me how to solve this. Okay, here. I'm gonna focus on the game now here. What's going on? I can't die like this. What's going on? Please tell me what's happened to me. People talking. I am blind. What am I missing here? It's just really low bitrate. I'm sorry to hear that, folks. I don't know what's... What if I go over here? Oh, okay, that's what it is. Oh, lamp. Interesting. I don't know if you guys can see the answers there. Okay, let's do it again. So this is like a weird Groundhog Day thing. Yeah, I know. Let's move up here. Okay, so you come over here to this guy, and he says truth. The only way to stop is to speak something that is honest. I can't keep making these. My work is always fun. I am bursting with creative. I can't keep making these. Interesting. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. I don't feel it anymore. I'm out of ideas.
Like I said,
it's
I was
draining
getting
me.
concerned. First off,
It is
he's
kinda
never
sad.
been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
Keep going, keep talking. I haven't been honest. I can't figure out how to say the thing. I thought it was going to be easy. I can't figure out how to say the thing. You're doing it. It's working. I'm alone. I'm stuck in it. I have to work harder. I have to work harder. We're going to be okay.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes.
Yeah, it is a very
something.
artistic game that demands interpretation and reflection. You're right. That's a very good way of putting it. Yes. You're right. They are made by the narrator instead of Coda. But where am I? Hello? What is this? What is this? Hello? Is anyone there? I found this one really nice too. Even though it's like, is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I've talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing left to give to my work. I'm completely out of ideas. Oh no. That's not good. What happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going, and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me. To start it again. Okay. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. You have to take me to it. I can do that, but there's a problem.
The last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations. This one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
If you can help me solve the puzzle, we'll find the machine. Deal? Doesn't matter what I say. One way or the other, we're going to end up there just the same. Deal. Yeah, I say deal just the same. Okay. It's really nice. He's got a very good sense of, like,
Because
I don't know, calming
from my perspective at the time
settings.
and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble.
I don't know if you guys caught that one little line there, but based on what I knew of him and what I saw,
Just sitting at his
He says
computer all
that.
day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
this raises a good question. He says he's not releasing the game to anybody. Doesn't even put it online. So these games that he makes, games that anybody makes, a movie or book story, does it have to be written or created or shot or whatever for an audience? Does it have to be made for that audience? Or does it have to be made for anybody? Can you just make a story or a video game for yourself? Do you have to have a story without a point? Like, does every story have to have a point, a lesson? Does there have to be something that it's creating to, that it's going to? He has this idea that somehow Coda isn't doing the right way of making a video game because the ways he's making video games don't appeal to the way Davey thinks video games should be made, the way that he thinks players want to play video games. This is easy, yeah. Come on, let me open it up. Oh, wonderful. Can you tell me how to do it? Yeah, I can. Just let me do it. First, you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to open... Now you have to close the first door. Oh, damn it. Open the door. Now you have to close the first door. Okay, right, what's next? Now press the switch here.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness.
Is a creative,
It
is a
doesn't
creative person?
work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being
4K devs
channeled into
prove
your
that.
work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and
You
you're just
didn't know
going
him
to
personally?
crash.
I can respect why it should be grounded in something. And to some extent, I find sometimes artsy stuff, you know, can be really cool and thought-provoking, but also kind of pretentious and stupid. What is happening here? There's no machine here. There's just words on the wall. Interesting noise that's going on in the background. You have to say... Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Sure, making games is easy. That feels wonderful. But it wasn't true. Don't worry about it, just keep talking. Keep saying the creation is easy. It's easy. It never stops being easy. Yes, that's wonderful. Keep going.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me.
It does kind of feel unhealthy. It kind of sounds like someone's
Watching him do this
gasping.
to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped.
It doesn't mean that other people will like it, though. Yes. Yeah. If you express yourself, then it's the only one. You're the only one that cares. An interesting quote. There's a writer I really like.
It's like
Kurt Vonnegut. Actually, I'll come back to this.
video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
That's a great point. Are video games, or is art worth the amount of suffering it takes to take into it, or does the production that you're attempting to create, is it worth the suffering you put into it? Just never stop creating, and you'll never feel bad.
This is
That
someone
feels
I really
fantastic.
cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Please, where is the machine? Why would you have to suffer to create something? That's a great question. Have you ever written something, and as you're writing it, you feel like this is stupid, no one's ever gonna like it, it's really dumb? Any sacrifices made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. It always pays off eventually. Pain breezes effortlessly off me. Yes. More. Keep going.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time.
It does feel
I don't know
very
how else to
exasperating. Like, I want to leave this room.
I wanted
There is
it
no
to
guilt,
stop
shame.
more than anything.
Yeah. I want
I
it to
never
stop too.
felt so rotten.
Yeah.
I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
Yeah. I agree with
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another
This is a
7
trip.
months and comes up with a new game.
Thank you, Sinaj. I appreciate. Okay, sorry, I missed a bit of the. Any creative person, Pepper, will tell you that there is an aspect of introspection and exploration of concepts simply for the purpose of gaining insight. I love that engine. That's really good. It doesn't mean they will hate it neither. Sometimes you can get satisfaction from giving people what they want. That is a really good point too, Finboy. There is satisfaction for giving people what they want. Sometimes, like I don't love the Hobbit movies for one. I think there's a lot of problems with them. They're not great. They're not really super well written. There's a lot of CGI, but it's fun for an afternoon. I watch those movies. I enjoy them. They're really good. Like I'm happy to tear them apart. They're not good for a bunch of whole reasons, but at the same time, there's this aspect of like, it's just an entertaining movie. Sometimes a movie just needs to be entertaining and just get me through a couple hours without really thinking about it. So is there value to something that we as art critics or as movie critics or whatever, when we look at a movie, we can tell it's not good based on these perhaps arbitrary factors, but we know that these certain games, these certain movies aren't good for a whole bunch of reasons, but yet they can still be fun. So does that make them good? Does that make our rules for what makes a good game valid at all? I don't know. I'm getting a little bit too crazy here, a little too abstract, but we'll move on. Hello, guard. Glad to see you ride safely. Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like you helped at all. We captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be brutal. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. Do you know where the poisonous games have come from? How do you capture? What is this machine? What are your next actions? Can you tell us? Please, can you have a minute for an interview? You find the machine? Have you done the machine? Can you capture the machine? Please, you take a minute for the interview. You got a minute? You have a machine? The answer the machine is now... Oh, Jesus, this is awful. Okay.
And of course, it's the machine.
You stopped. Sorry, I want to read. Sorry, I meant. Yeah, not all good has to have suffering. But I want you to remember that when we get to the end here. Oh, yes, thank you for the hydrate. I should hydrate. You stopped feeding us. Your work was keeping us alive. Your work was keeping us healthy. Your work was keeping us alive. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? Ooh. How about this for a start? You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to people that you allowed them to suffer. I've been so alone. I'm gonna go with number 2. No, nothing. Come on, machine. What do you got for me? I'm sitting here berating you. All right, then. I will speak for them. I will speak to them for you. My followers, my friends. My friends. It falls on me to deliver bad news. I have a troubling revelation. The machine will not apologize to us. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. Let us pay it reputation. Let us show that we are not failures. Follow me. We will destroy the machine. Okay, I guess we're just... Oh, we're back on the stage. Ooh. Well, have a good night there, Tarquinex. Ooh, I got the gun again! So cool! Oh, no.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you,
Quite literally.
the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Ah, I love destroying all this stuff. Can I jump down?
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games.
The house cleaning game is
I
awesome.
brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions.
Yeah, it's sad how he does that.
Is that they really loved his games.
Can we reload this time?
You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference
I-
point.
it just
But
doesn't
they
have
genuinely loved his work.
A magazine, it just
There
goes...
was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Just so much. Oh. So much ammunition. Oh, I'm out of gun. Damn it. Put down your weapon. Well, I actually don't have... Oh, Lamp! Are you with the machine? That's not cool. I thought we were friends, Lamp. Oh.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
Interesting. Can't move forward or backward. I need to remove that routine.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while.
Lamp betrayed us.
So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The Tower. So this is kind of what we've been building up to all game.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
It does feel a little bit grim. I don't know what the noises are in the background.
Actually, has a maze.
Batman, yeah. What's the tarot card for the tower? What does that mean? It feels Soviet. Interesting. This one is going to get people.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press the use key on your gamepad.
Okay, I want to see if I can do this.
Over the maze.
Oh, damn it. Okay, so I can go pretty far this way. If I go immediately right, and then there seems to be a stop, so let's try going left. No, that's a bad one. No, that's a bad one. Okay, let's try this way. No, that's a bad one. Okay, how about... No. Okay, so there's like a clear wall. Okay, I'm just gonna skip. Thanks for the help there, Davey. Always reliable. Meaning danger, crisis, sudden change to structure, higher learning, and liberation. In the rider weight deck, the top of the tower is a crown, which symbolizes materialistic thought being bought cheap. Interesting. Alfred's perspective makes perfect sense. Interesting. I don't know much about tarot cards. I like the symbolism of it. I obviously don't think there's any magical...
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever.
And it would have been amazing, but you ruined it.
Off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end.
I don't want it to end. I want to just clean the house immediately.
That game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Oh, this is funny.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Okay, so 1 5 1 6 1 7. No, I ruined it. Press the button too many times. This game is so hostile to the player. Why would anybody... The deeper idea is probably just to annoy Davey, yeah. Maybe the person is lost inside themselves, unable to find a solution. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, I felt. Like, because all of his prisons are always kind of endless, and even when you escape, there's like another prison to it. And so I think that's kind of what Davey's trying to get at, is like...
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem.
Interesting.
But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean.
3 dots, remember?
And he wouldn't.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to dislike Davey. That's the feeling I've gotten from this game, is that we're supposed to kind of dislike this manifestation
I
of...
felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
He's going to talk a little bit more, and then we're going to come to a
Where did I
head.
screw up?
And I think this is where it is. So I want to just say a few things. So first, I think you guys are right to pick up on the 3 seashells, and then they're not supposed to understand their meaning. I think we're right to see Davy as sort of an unpleasant character. I think that's what Davy was trying to get to. I think he was trying to show us, because you can kind of hear it in Davy's voice as he goes on. Like at the beginning, when he's talking about Coda, he very much sees himself as like he's helping Coda. Coda's got this problem, and he wants to help Coda. He sees this problem, and yeah, because I made a game that... It's interesting that you say that, Pepper Ann. I want you to hold that in your head and just wait until we get to the last part. So, sorry. And as he goes through and he starts seeing, he's building up this confirmation bias he has of Coda. Like he's already made his decision of what Coda is. He's awkward. He's weird. He doesn't know how to connect with people, and he's lonely. That's the biggest thing. He's lonely. And somehow he sees that revealing the game to people, getting the good feedback from people, is somehow going to fix Coda's problem. And as he continues to try, Coda gets more and more detached and depressed and whatever. And then Davey starts to feel... He even says it here. He's like, I feel like a failure. I see that my friend has a problem. I'm trying. And then he keeps justifying it to himself many, many times over again. He says, I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm just trying to do what, like, if I was depressed, I would want somebody to come and help me. If I was in this problem, if I was making these video games, if I was doing all this shit, I want someone to come to me and help me. So he keeps saying, I'm going to get him help. I'm going to fix this problem. And then as he can't fix this problem, he becomes more and more upset. If you go back... He's talking about the machine earlier. The machine is obviously supposed to be Coda. They literally call it Coda. And when we're talking about it, we talk about how the actions of the machine, who stop making these games, stop making whatever the machine produces, is hurting other people. And they're talking about how the machine should admit its fault, but of course in the machine it says nothing. So he's just getting angry at this thing. He's saying that you hurt me, but the machine didn't do anything to him. Good and positive place, and they're just trying to help someone because you want to escape from your own issues. It feels to me like they're more the second one for the narrator. Yes, but could it not be both? Could we not sometimes, like, is there a way for us to know that when we're helping somebody, there's an altruistic way, and it's a good and positive, healthy way, and not trying to help ourselves out of our own problems? And like, I guess sometimes if he's sitting here proposing that this is a negative experience for Coda, is the point of this game to tell people don't help other people, or like you shouldn't push? You're trying to help people, you shouldn't see, because that doesn't seem right either. Like, we should help each other. We should help each other when we're in a bad spot. And to be fair, from Davy's perspective, some of these games are pretty depressing and sad, and he does explicitly say many times. Now, obviously, he wrote it that way, but if Coda's a real person, the things that he's talking about, it does seem like he's legitimately depressed. It's not as if this idea that Davy has come up with has fallen from the sky. Anyways, used by the narrator, yeah. Fix Coda, make himself feel like a good person, yeah. There seems to be this he does spend a lot of time in the game, the way the games are made and the way he talks, sort of comparing this idea that as a healthy person, you are also a good person, and as an unhealthy person, then I guess you're not a good person. All of these things to say, and I could honestly just keep talking about it for a while. Even realizing how you feel is very hard for some people. Yeah, you're right. It can be very difficult to just. He even talks about it sometimes. Coda in his games, he talks about even when you're giving an opportunity to communicate, that sometimes it's very difficult to communicate, and the options that you have. I think the fact that all the options are bad is to sort of represent how sometimes you can feel like you don't have any way out. The only choices you have are all bad. So whatever you say is just going to make the problem worse. And that to me really connected with me, because that's sometimes the reason I feel like I can't talk about my problems, because I think about my problems and then I think about how people are going to react, or how it's going to affect them, or how it's going to reflect back on me. And all I can see are the bad sides. So then I just don't say anything. And then in my mind, I've solved something. I've solved some problem that I've completely imagined in my own head. I've solved it by not saying anything, so then I can never make a fool of myself. And I think that's part of what the game's trying to get at. But I think there's another important part it's trying to get at, is that there's value in trying to reach out to people, and we should learn that the justification of our good intentions isn't enough to carry us through, and that maybe we should try to learn our own personal. Sorry, I'm getting too much. I need to get into the actual end of the game for a lot of this bullshit I'm saying to actually kind of make sense. Yes, he is missing some conflicts. The friend I know, yeah. Only knows it through his games, yeah. It's good that you guys. Okay, so here it is. This is the
I'm
climax.
the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
So we're gonna keep going a little bit here.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I'm making these games for you. There's a lot of build up to this, so buckle up. It's tough.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
You've so infected my personal space that it's impossible. I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them something that is not yours to give? Violating the one boundary that keeps me safe? Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? Would you simply let them be what they are?
I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
When I'm around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something that I cannot give to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. This is the thing that stuck to me the most. This line, this single line. Low points are just part of the process. The fact that you would think I'm frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry.
Still talking over Coda's message.
I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
If you notice, the walls are closing in on. Yeah, David got no chill. Epilogue. So, I'll come to this in a bit. Another lamp, but a different lamp. Interesting.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. Solution.
See, if you recall, for those of you who don't know, who maybe came in late, I love Lamp too. Lamp keeps us strong. Lamp keeps us grounded. Lamp is there for us. I've grown to accept that Lamp has betrayed us by siding with Machine, but I don't own Lamp. Lamp doesn't. I don't know to tell Lamp what he's doing. Lamp helps us sometimes. Lamp helps us. Doesn't help us other times. So I've forgiven Lamp, and I've forgiven myself for putting Lamp in that situation. Sorry. So we talked about this at the beginning. This guy Davey. For those of you who don't know, Davey, if it was last name, was the guy who wrote Stanley Parable. And if you don't know Stanley Parable, it's an amazing game. It's hard to explain exactly what it is, but it's very unique and very wonderful. Someone made a really good point as it walking simulators had existed before, and I'll give you that. You'll never trust. You're not ready to trust Wick. But the game was really good. And one thing I think that is really important about this game is that it allows us to see how Davey feels about himself and how he feels about the position that he's been put in by his own success. He's sort of a victim of his own success. It's actually touched on a little bit in the Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition, but he got so much praise for this game. He got so much love for that game, and it sort of exalted him in fame because he made this little game out of nowhere, and suddenly it was huge. People loved it. And I can only imagine what kind of pressure that would put on somebody to create something so wonderful, and then where do you go from Jesus? Where do you go after that? Like, apparently, this is something I read somewhere. I'm not an expert on depression or anything like that, but apparently, there is a problem with depression with Olympic athletes because they get to this point, they get to the Olympics, and they achieve this great level, and then they just don't know where to go after that, or they don't know how to get back to that point, that excitement of winning the Olympics. Have I ever played Stanley Parable 2? Do you mean Stanley Parable the Deluxe Edition, or is there actually a Stanley Parable 2? I have played both of them. They're very amazing. Anyways, and I think in a way that this is what he's trying to explain, is this addiction he has to success, this addiction he has to like positive feedback. And I think in a lot of ways he explained, so like I don't necessarily know what it's like to be in his position, but I do know what it's like to be anxious and depressed. And
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Maybe he just likes making prisons. So I think that's a really meaningful realization, because he says that point, or specifically Coda says this point, that the suffering, the pain is part of his process. Like his feelings towards his own games and his own artistic production is his own, and it's a personal thing for him, and it goes into a part of, I don't know, it helps to build part of his creative process. I'm not really sure, but the point I think that the Coda character is trying to make is,
even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
I'm going to come back to that in a second. But the Coda character is just this person who's just trying to make games and just sort of screwing around. And he has some ups and downs, he has some whatever, but as Davey starts getting involved in it, he's ruining the process for him. He says it at one point where he's like, if I make solutions in the game, will that give you something? Will that make you happy? And then we go back to an earlier conversation that they had, which is, do games need to be playable? Do the games be not playable, whatever? Like, what does it have to, does it have to be built to one person? Does it have to be built to an audience? Does it have to do that to have meaning? Well, no. None of those things need to happen, because they're just a game that Coda was making for himself, to make for himself, to learn something about it, to explore. And when Davey comes in here and he sees these games, he's constantly wondering, well, this isn't very fun. This isn't very fun. This isn't very rewarding. It's not very challenging. What are these puzzles? Is this puzzle too difficult? The puzzle of this story doesn't make any sense. And I think my reading of this game, this entire game, and the relationship between Davy and Coda is that Davy is both of these people at the same time. That he is that person, he's Coda, who's coming up with these ridiculously clever and amazing games, and he's just going around and trying something. But then Davy, the representation of Davy in this game, is constantly second guessing everything he does. It's constantly being like, that's not stupid, that doesn't have a solution, that doesn't. So this argument he has between whether a game should be playable and unplayable is this argument that he struggles with himself. He made Stanley Parable, and that game is questionable levels of playability. Even this game, when I was talking about this game, I was trying to make this game, people constantly said, I like my game to have more game in it. So we all have this definition of what a good game should be and what it shouldn't be, but should any of that matter to Coda? Should any of that matter to Davy? Should any of that matter to the creator of Stanley Parable? Is it better for us to let game developers just make whatever they want? Well, that seems silly. They won't learn anything. They're going to make ridiculously terrible games that are, like, I don't know, strange and aren't fun for anybody. But at the same time, should we restrict them? We all play so many games, and we all know that, like, there are these games that are kind of just made as safe bets. You know, put skill trees in it, give them a bunch of classes, you know, let them be an archer, a mage, or a warrior. You know, all these same things, like, let them level up, make all the same stuff, but it doesn't really challenge us. Maybe it challenges us, like, you know, to shoot better or attack better, but it doesn't necessarily challenge us in any meaningful way because we've all done it before, but it's still fun. I don't know. I can go around in circles in this, but one of the reasons I look back on this game with such fondness and such this idea of rose-tinted goggles is that this game made me think so much. And regardless of what you think about this game, or if you agree with me, or you agree with Davey, or you agree with Coda, or you think that this is all pretentious bullshit, we did talk a lot about a lot of things that were really interesting, and it just doesn't happen in other games. If I was to choose, you know, Assassin's Creed Unity, we wouldn't have had conversations about depression and anxiety. I mean, maybe, but probably not. Oh, yeah, this place. Let's move on. This game is so special and wonderful and ridiculous and pretentious.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
See, he talks about this a lot, and even after this experience where he's written about Coda saying, like, you don't need to fix me, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm not a problem that you can solve, he immediately shifts to himself. Even in the realization that he's done something wrong, he can't really get what he's done wrong, because he immediately goes back to, you know, all he can fixate on is the damage he's done, the person he's hurt, and the fact that games aren't going to be made because of his actions. And right now, all he's thinking about, or maybe this is me not getting it, because what I'm seeing now is that Davey is not really maybe understanding the point of the game, even in the game that he wrote. He's sitting here and shitting on himself and being like, this is a problem I need to fix for himself. But his obsession and addiction to validation, the suffering that it causes him, is a part of his process.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna
go.
Okay.
See, he keeps, even there, he's like, I have a lot to work, I have a lot to make up for, I have a lot to do it. Actually, there's, damn it, my copy of Walden's not around. There's a really good Walden quote. Oh, I appreciate that you guys liked it. Sorry, I missed a little bit. Seems entirely counter to this game. I shouldn't know. Sorry, I missed a few your message here. Fun is a safe bet. That's a fair point there, fan of gaming. But it's okay to have safe bets, but also games that challenge. All video games are art. Not all art are video games. That's fair enough. I like that. For this reason, when I learn about games like this that has an appectomy, is also a good game. Just as exploitation in the middle of the marathon deserves a bunch of sweetens. I appreciate it, Dusty. I enjoy the talking, so in that sense, good choice. I don't like the game because I don't need help to make myself sad. Okay, fair enough. However, I enjoyed the talk in the stream, so I'm sweetening. I appreciate it, Finboy. But to play devil's advocate there, Finboy, is it possible that an experience that even makes you sad could still be valuable? Like, sometimes in our video games empower us a lot, but is that good? Should we only ever have experiences in our video games that empower us and make us feel good? Or can we gain something from experiencing our own sadness or experiencing someone else's sadness? Does an emotion that is bad, like sadness and anger, and I'm not saying any of those things are good, but is there something to gain of value from witnessing other people's hard points? See, I think a really good part of this game is that Davey is letting us in on his own problems, his own struggles, as intimately as he possibly could. He puts it into a video game, and it's a little pretentious, and it's a little silly sometimes, and it takes a little while to get where it's going, but he is being vulnerable to each and every one of us. But then, at the end, he kind of leaves to be like, I need to fix myself, I need to make it better. But I think he's still sort of missing his own point, is that there's a value to expressing your vulnerability, and there's something to be learned from not only your vulnerability, but other people's vulnerability. The bad parts about us give ourselves value, something to learn from, and the bad experiences we have are valuable in their own sense. And if the only thing we ever get from it is to continue to hate ourselves or to continue to put ourselves down, then all we're going to do is just get in these shitty loops, which he himself has gotten into. He spends the entire time worrying about Coda, he loses the friendship with Coda, and he leaves the game in a sad point of view. And he thinks, I need to now solve my own problem. And the cycle continues. He's going to keep trying to fix a problem that he just maybe isn't looking at properly. And then I just keep walking through this until the end. Yes, it can be a struggle. Yes. So Pepper Ann, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Coda is a fictional character. And the things that he does to Coda are not real. But I think it's in... Where the hell am I going? I think he created it to sort of represent his own problem. I can't wait to see Deathloop. It looks like a really cool game. Where the hell am I supposed to be? I guess I'll just keep walking into the darkness and eventually he'll let me go. This is the loneliest part I find in the game. Without Davey around to tell me stuff, I just don't know. Yes, long after the fact, I appreciate that. Have you played the Walden game? There's a Walden game? Like Henry David Thoreau Walden game? Yeah, do you need to get it? Yeah. Yes, see Coda as a representation of game film? Yeah, I agree with that. Not even Lamp will guide us. Yeah, I just want to know, because I don't know where I'm supposed to go at this point, and I forget if there was a point, or I literally just quit the game and said I'm done now. Maybe that's the point? I don't know. Or maybe I've just been too busy just talking about bullshit that I walked right by the door. Let's see if we find something. So I am done a little bit early. I don't know who's coming after me, but if someone could be so kind as to talk to them and ask them if they're ready to go, I can either end a little bit early or I can go back to the cleaning simulator. Is that we sit in darkness and ponder. Yeah, I like that. What was the problem? If the Coda was fiction, what's the problem? I think that's a good question. I don't know. What is the problem? Oh, you know what? I just turned around and went back. Barrett stands limp. He means Coda isn't a real Iroh person. The narrator is. Maybe not entirely with that personality. Yeah. Talking about bullshit isn't always bad. Hello, Snowball. How are you? Sorry, yes. I don't know who comes after me. And I'm afraid to click out. And I want to know who I have to raid into. And if they can start soonish, or should I vamp for 20 more minutes? They've been pinged. Okay, cool. Thank you, Baron. Okay, so I want to know if there's an area out of this. Oh, don't worry, guys. I don't want to tell you guys there's a right way of looking through this. This is just how I perspect it, or how I see it. So all of your guys' opinions are valued. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is an amazing game. I'm wondering who he's going to have as his partner. I don't know if you guys have ever played Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. So I don't have any bad things to say about my competitors. I think I love Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. If you haven't played it before, it's wonderful. You need to play it in teams of 2, and only one person needs to own the game. But if you have any communication breakdown between you and your friend, it will cause problems. You will get angry with each other, because the whole game is designed in such a way that is to create a sort of you and another player have to solve these puzzles. I don't want to ruin it too much for the next guy, but you and another person have to solve this puzzle. One person has the answer, and one person actually can see the puzzle, but neither can see what the other person sees, and you just have to communicate with each other. Hence the Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes part. And the puzzle is a bomb. Hence the Nobody Explodes part. And the puzzles are designed in such a way to purposely cause you to misspeak and say words just slightly different, which is enough to cause an issue. Oh, is that a way out? Or is that back to where I came from? I feel like we're stuck. Yeah. I feel like this is just going to go on forever. And this is how it ends. So I have got it running, and I'm going to try to stream it by myself to see if Gladius can get going. I'm a little worried about a few things. One is I only have like 4 hours to play it. So what I think I might do is jump, or I'll do my own stream of like the tutorial or whatever, just to see that it works. And then for the marathon, I'll actually get into the game proper and play it. Because a lot of the stuff that needs to be tutorialed, I guess, or stuff that we've already seen a million times in games and doesn't need to really explain. But it is very awesome. Yes. Oh, sorry. You're talking about Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. Yes. Very, very good. Yeah, it isn't. That's why I think starting off at after the tutorial would be a really good idea. Yeah, I also appreciate all you guys' contribution to this game, this stream, because this game would not have been as interesting to go through if the chat and you guys hadn't been so engaging. So, Willow, is that you? I don't know why I talked to her as if she's a human being. Is there a custom play I can do in 4 hours? Pff, no. Yeah, for those extra Sweden votes, yeah. Yeah, I just think it'd be fun to go through. The story is also kind of lame too. I mean, it's just a classic video game story. Like you're a character, you have to fight a bunch of other people. Turns out you have special powers and you can beat everybody. That's how it is. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Balance story, like the Imperial guys, mostly because I find Ursula's outfit to really bother me. It's like super over sexualized and it makes absolutely no sense. It was a great year for LucasArts, yeah. Yeah, I expected a lot more pretentious too. Yeah, it is pretty pretentious, but it's also very good. Um, but I mean, sometimes the games are like are as good as you. It's they're as fun as you put the effort into. I guess enjoying them. Like they, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Yes, they do. I was surprised. Jake said the game was really bad and he hated it, and I thought he was gonna come in and like badmouth the game the entire time, but maybe he's sleeping. I don't know. Oh, they've gone live. Um, yeah, I like the game. I knew. I knew. Sorry, Blob, are you saying that the next player has gone live? The one who am I rating into? Okay, so I'm gonna just say that we've quit the menu. Regulus is live. Okay, cool. So Regulus Pratus. Okay, so let's see if I can do this properly. Slash raid Regulus Pratus. Okay. I hope that's the right one. Oh my god, I'd be so embarrassed if it's the wrong one. Okay, so I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I really do mean it. It was only as good because you guys put so much into it. So I really appreciate all you guys your opinions, and I appreciate that I didn't have to worry about you guys being dicks to each other. People kept telling me that it might be an issue because there's a huge group and people are going to whine and complain about it, but you didn't do that. You guys were great. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will say yes, yeah, Lamp is here for us at the end. I will see you guys all in the future. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys enjoy. Keep talking, and nobody explodes.
All right, let's get this party started. Let the show begin. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Hang on, let me. Okay, is this help?